into our Parliament and its progress. Thanks, Mr. Speaker.
Ian Lees-Galloway.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It's a great pleasure to speak in favour of the Cultural Property Protection and Armed Conflict Bill. Mr. Speaker, this bill offers New Zealand it requires of New Zealand obligations to adhere to the Hague Convention on the protection of cultural property in the event of armed conflict, but it also offers us protection as well. In the event, as unlikely as it probably seems to most of us at the moment, that New Zealand should be the stage of armed conflict in the future. We are both able to ensure that our representatives overseas, and I must say that the New Zealand Defence Force has a superb reputation around the world for the way it conducts itself on overseas deployments, but this legislation allows us to ensure that Defence Force personnel or any other New Zealand representatives or New Zealanders, whether they're representing the country formally or not, can be held accountable for their actions regarding cultural property, and it also allows us to prosecute anybody who does any damage to our own cultural assets here in New Zealand. The convention allows for the use of an emblem which is essentially made up of blue and white triangles that can be affixed to cultural property and used to signify buildings in particular which are of cultural significance. And of course the bill makes very clear what types of buildings and assets can have that emblem affixed to them, and how that emblem can be used. The emblem can only be used to identify those types of assets, and of course it would be an offence to try to pass off military assets as a cultural asset in some sort of effort to persuade an invading force that those assets were not for military use. The use of the distinctive emblem in other than the cases that are mentioned, which are in the bill, which are for cultural uses, and uses for the distinctive shall be, which are outside of the purview of the bill, shall be forbidden, and the emblem is not to be placed on any immovable cultural property unless at the same time there is displayed an authorisation duly dated and signed by the competent authority of the high contracting party. All very technical stuff, which essentially says we can keep our cultural assets safe, or at least have a mechanism by which to hold people accountable should that not happen. Mr. Speaker, it's important that New Zealand plays its part in these types of international agreements. We have a very good reputation around the world for leading the charge on this type of activity, and this bill ensures that our international reputation as a peaceful, stable and internationally engaged nation is retained, and for those reasons the Labour Party is very happy to support it.
Catherine Delahunty.